I'm going to answer these questions in detail, but the long short of it is no, the UK media did not get sanctions on royals after Diana died. My video on Catherine, the Princess of Wales, got some people in their feels. And I think people miss the fact that I was not encouraging more speculation or conspiracy or invasive journalistic tactics. I was pointing out a double standard in reporting and this unique relationship that the British royal family has with the British press. If you're new here, because there's a lot of new followers, that's what I primarily look at. The relationship between the press, powerful people, and how media covers things. Kensington Palace put out a statement that she had had surgery and would be out till around Easter. And there has been very little reporting on that. We're trying to get additional details, not in terms of what's wrong with her, but what her work life will look like. Remember, one of the arguments that the British media made in order to form the Royal Rota, which we're going to talk about, is the fact that the public deserves to know what is going on with the people that they support. They pay money for the engagements, they pay in some of the upkeep. They deserve to know. I think things have been so warped in royal reporting for so long that people think that there is only invasion of privacy and illegal methods of obtaining information, or to essentially act like the PR arm for the royal institution. In the middle is free and honest and fair journalism. Royal family is treated more like celebrity gossip, and they are rarely treated with a critical lens. The most effective PR that the British royal family has been able to do in conjunction and in participation with some in the British media is convince the public that they are a benevolent, harmless institution and not one with extraordinary political and financial power. Even the investigation by the Times. They broke the lid off the story of a cash for honor scandal involving Prince Charles's charities. This should have been big news, and yet it barely made a splash. It was actively ignored in favor of positive coverage about the upcoming coronation. So let's talk about the Royal Rota, which was what the British media advocated for when logistically it was becoming a nightmare to have all these reporters at all of these events and not know how many people were going to go there. It's a security issue. It was too much. So when Diana and her sons were younger, they came up with a rota system in which one member from a certain number of papers with hard copy circulations in the UK would attend events. Rebecca English of the Daily Mail is the Royal Rota domestic captain. She is in charge of figuring out who goes to each event. It's a rotating system, but some people get plushier assignments than others. This was seen as an effective way to give the media and the public what they wanted, which was reporting on royal engagements. Downside is many in the Rota act more like PR for the British royal family and are willing to parrot out anything that is given to them. That is why I have maintained that the press is not being respectful when they don't dig into whatever is going on with Kate or what the future is going to look like. They're simply protecting their access. So very often you see certain members of the royal family treated with kid gloves. There's a misconception that after Princess Diana died, there was a huge overhaul in the British media. Here's what actually happened. The PCC, or the Press Complaints Commission, which is a self-governing body of editors, knew that the public was pissed after Diana died, and they had seen how she had been hounded by reporters, by the paparazzi. They had seen the stories, and they wanted something done. The media were the bad guys, so they did two crucial things. They pointed the finger at other people, and they made changes to their code of conduct, an unenforceable code of conduct. Because what they wanted to avoid was this becoming a government issue leading to new laws, which, not for nothing, the Levinson inquiry was going to suggest changes that the government could make to media and how they obtain information after the first hearing. But David Cameron was like, hey, thanks for spending all that time putting together this document with changes that we could make. We're not going to do any of them. David Cameron, former conservative prime minister, who happened to be good friends with Rebecca Brooks. Yes, the same Rebecca Brooks that was found not guilty on all charges of knowledge of phone hacking or doing the hacking herself. The first thing that the media did was call to not use Diana's death to gag the press. They pointed fingers at the foreign paparazzi who were responsible for chasing her in the tunnel to get the pictures, while leaving out the very important fact that the reason that they were chasing her to get those photos was because of the big payday promised by the British media. Just a few weeks before her death, the Mirror paid a record-setting £275,000 for a grainy, blurry photo of Diana and Dodi. There were also fingers pointed at the driver, which, whatever you have to say about Henri Paul or the lack of seatbelts, doesn't change the fact that they got into a car because they were being hounded by the paparazzi, and he was speeding because they were being chased by the paparazzi, and he had flashing lights in his eyes from the cameras because of the paparazzi, who were all looking for a big payday. Even more telling about the ability of the PCC to regulate was this statement that came out during the Levinson inquiry from the head of the PCC from 2004 to 2009. He asked if the error that everyone has made is calling the PCC a self-regulating body, and that it's believed to be a regulator by the public, when it wasn't actually a regulator at all, which he replied, yes. So if the PCC wasn't really regulating the media after Diana's death, who was? And what actually changed? Or was it the appearance of change that people accepted? What has the media learned since Diana? I think they've learned how to do a better job of protecting the future heir to the throne and his wife. And unsavory stories about them, or negative stories, is not how you build popularity. That's not how you convince people to maintain a monarchy. And I think many senior royals have learned how to play the game and are willing participants in it now because it's seen as an inevitable. It's a broken system.